right? So what I'm going to do is, now you have this particular data. You have this OPEX category, you have the expenses group, you have the GL, you have the expenses item, you have the department, marketing department, human resource department, accounting and finance, admin department. Okay, assuming this is a very small company, they only have 4 different departments. So what I'm going to do is, I want to create a dashboard from here. Okay, so what I'll suggest is you create some rows. Okay, and then if you remember, I told you highlight the data. Okay, so first step is you highlight the data. Of course, I'll start from here. Maybe I'll go here and then I highlight the data. So first step is highlight the data. Second step is, if you notice, your table is not in a proper format because you have column and you have some rows over here and you have some column. So the best thing is you go to data, you go to from table / range. Okay, so once you go table / range, a small box will appear. Can you see this box? Maybe you can type number 2 in the chat box if you can see this small box. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to press OK. All right, so you will be navigated to Power Query Editor. All right, and then of course there are so many nulls. Don't worry. What I'm going to do is I want to make it into a table format whereby there's every column. Okay, so I'm just going to go to transform and transpose. So when I transpose, you notice there's null over here. So I'm just want to click all these, shift button, right click, and I just want to remove column. Okay, so now you have GTA 1000 marketing department. So sometimes when you work in a company will have the company code or the cost center, the company code or the company numbers. All right. So for example, marketing is 1000, admin is 4000. So what I'm going to do is I want to highlight all this and I click on merge column. Can you see merge column? Maybe you can type number 3 in the chat box if you can see merge column. Okay, so you click merge column. So once you click merge column, all right, so these three will a box will appear, and then I choose semicolon. So I choose semicolon, I press OK. So now you notice that 1000 is connected. Okay, if you notice that this GTA 1000 marketing department all in one column. Initially it's in 3 different columns, but now it's in one column. Right. The next step is I go to transpose again. So now this is the format that I want. I want OPEX category, I want expenses, I want GL, I also want the expense item, marketing, human resource. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, if you notice, the title is column 1, column 2, column 3. And the original title is over here. So what I'm going to do is I go to home and I click use first row as header. So I click this. So now it appears as OPEX category, expenses group, expense item, and all this. And then you notice that you have marketing department, you have accounting department, and also admin department in 4 separate columns. So if you remember earlier, I told you that you press your shift button, click this. So now your 4 columns are highlighted. And then you go to transform, and then you press unpivot column. Okay, so now you have this. So all these appears in a column format, in a table format, right? And then of course this one we have merge. So what we can do is we click on this column and then we click on split column. So once I split this column, I by delimiter, that means by character, I click this, I go to OK, and then you notice that all these will appear. That means you have GTA 1000 marketing department, and then you have values. All right. So you have OPEX category. Maybe I'll just put this as OPEX category. This one is expenses. And then you have the GL. If you're an accountant, you know this is a general ledger. And then you have the expenses item. This is maybe the cost center. And then I'll just proceed with you have this, maybe I can remove this as well, not necessary. And then you have this department, and then you can also change these to these values. You can actually change to, maybe up to you. You want to put Ringgit Malaysia, or you want to put currency or Indian rupees, also can. And then what I do is I go to home, I go to close and load, and then it will be navigated to a new tab. So now you have OPEX category, expenses group, this thing. So with this, you can actually create a pivot table, and you can also create a dashboard. Okay, meaning to say, for example, I just highlight all this. I go to insert, I go to pivot table. Okay, I go to existing. So maybe I'll just go somewhere. Maybe I'll just go somewhere here. Okay, just let me up this. And I go to existing, I click this. So now you have this pivot table over here, right? So you just say I put department here, and I can just put the RM over here, OPEX category, and there you go. So if you remember, I will always format my data so that I can actually read clearly. Right click, format cells, accounting, no symbol, remove decimal, and there you go. Okay, and then you can actually create a pivot chart. So something like this. So basically it's up to you. You want to create a bar chart, or you want to create a line chart, it's up to you. I'm going to create, right click, hide all field. So there you go. And just going to remove this, click the T sign, remove grid line, and add data label, remove legend, and maybe I'll just put add chart title. Okay, so this is how it looks. And then go to pivot chart, insert slicer, and then perhaps I can just put the OPEX category. Okay, so now in the OPEX, we do have two items. All right, so before I proceed, can you see columns over here? If you can see column, maybe you can type number 1 in the chat box. So if you notice, there's only one column. So what you can do is you can also increase so that it appears 2 column. Okay, it's up to you. You can actually put as 1 column or 2 column. All right, and then I'm just going to put this so it appears like this. I'm going to just upkeep. I'm going to create a new tab. So we have a new tab. I'm going to just put this as a title, merge and center. Go to this tab, Control X, and I'm going to put here. So you have the category, and then you put here Control X. I put it over here. So now you have this. And then I click on this bar chart, right click, format data series, go to fill and line, and then vary colors by point. Okay, and then this total, I'm going to put here equal, and I'll put it somewhere here. Okay, so just maybe let me put this. I'll put expenses. Okay, and cross off fee expenses. Okay, so now it looks nice. So if this say I put here equal, and I put here. If I put staff costs, it's a staff cost expenses. So if I put here is other operating expenses. Okay, maybe this expenses is not necessary. Maybe I'll say, I'll just change these to maybe in FY 2022. Okay, so if just say I click staff costs, it shows that staff costs in 2022. All right, but what I can do is maybe I'll just upkeep this, increase the size, and maybe I'll just put this blue color, yellow font, sorry, white font, bold. So there you go. So if you click this, you can know the performance, and you click this, you can know the performance.